Hi guys, and welcome to my review of Haikyuu chapter something 257 or something. I don't know. What's it called? Moonlit Evening. I have another chapter in front of me right now, and okay, whatever. Haikyuu. Okay. Another really solid chapter of Haikyuu. I'm just like it was. I'm pretty sure it was called Moonlit Evening because I was like, if there's moon in the chapter, it's about Tsukishima. I am in for woo! So yeah, we start off with Tsukki, and people being like, whoa, he's like really good, and he's the tallest member of Karasuno, even though he's just the first year, and oh my god, he blocked that, and you have the two spectators being like he deduced where to block, because he was like, okay, because they received it from here, he knew that they couldn't attack from the right, so he went to the left. And he then reacted instantly, because usually Tsukki uses read block, which is pretty useless against the quick, or the oddball quick, because it's so fast. But here, because he was like, they were probably gonna use it, so he, for the first time we see Tsukki not use read block and just go for the kill and just block them, which was super great, because then the second time we see Tsukki block, and again take a point, or not, wait, no, he had a one touch, but he used read block again, because they didn't use the quick that one time, but it was just really great to see that, because we all know I'm a big Tsukki fan, and it was just, I love it when he gets attention, and I really liked when Yamaguchi was like, okay, this is really good, because we all know that he's Tsukki fan number one, but he stands behind, besides Hinata, and he's like, Tsukki won't always be in the front line, and you just have Hinata being like, sure, we won't always have Tsukki's blocks, which is really important, because they have two middle blockers, they have Tsukki and Hinata. But as is also stated in this chapter, Hinata isn't really that much of a middle blocker. And it's often, I think this was in the Torizawa match, which I just watched recently because, fun fact, my friend came back from boarding school and she's been out of the anime loop for a long time, so we marathoned season 2 and season 3 of Haikyuu. So I have that fresh in my mind. But yeah, what was I talking about? Yeah, the rotation where Hinata has just gotten up in the front lines and it's Tsukki's turn to serve. That's one of their weakest rotations, because they don't have Nishinoya in the back who can receive, because obviously he switches out with the middle blockers, and when Tsukki serves he has to be in the court. Tsukki, as Hinata, is still kind of bad at receives, he's always been that. And he's literally useless on the back line, because, yeah, while he can attack, just from the back line, he can't block, he's not allowed to block from the back line, and that's his biggest strength, and he is their best blocker. And when Atsumu, Miya Atsumu, he says oh, tall guys on the back line, their blocks are just nothing anymore, and Hinata gets really angry. That's true, Kageyama says that as well, that's true. Their blocks are very dependent on Tsukishima, because while they do have Asahi, who is fairly tall, and they have Kageyama, who's fairly tall, and they're not at all bad blockers, but Tsukki is their centerpiece. He has the read blocking down to a fine art, and he, in the Shiratorizawa match, where he took control of their blockers with the timing and everything, because he has good intuition, and he's just really good at taking the information that he sees and then use that information. He doesn't rely on his own instincts, which is again something that his brother said in the Shiratorizawa match. Unlike Hinata, who again, Yamaguchi said this, he has fast reactions and he jumps, he's really fast at getting to from one place to another, but because he uses his instincts a lot, he doesn't always guess right. He sometimes just his block fails because he's not in the right place, and he's also just generally not as strong as Tsukishima is. So yeah, he still has something to work on when it comes to blocking, which is another thing in why I believe he will eventually return to being a wing spider, like as he's supposed to be, but I also think that he'll like maybe not perfect the art of blocking like Tsukki, but definitely become better, because he's still like, when he's gonna be a wing spider, he'll still help in the blocking. Cause you know, you need that 3-man block for really good blocks. But yeah, I really like it, and I really like the throwback to the Tateko match, where near the end here, where you have Tsukki having to spike, and Kageyama sets the toss really high so that Tsukki has to really reach for it. And he just like, he's completely over the block, like the block doesn't even reach him. It was so cool, because the guy who was blocking him was like, yeah, this is definitely higher than in the Shiratori-sama match, because obviously they've been researching them. They knew they were gonna go up against them. So it's really cool to see that Tsukki, like, he's literally so tall and has enough jumping power to be able to just like completely override their block. It's like against Kyakusawa in the preliminaries, where he was just so tall that their blocks were like useless. Except for when he was on the back line and Tsukki was on the front line. Like, Tsukki was tall enough to be able to block him when Kyakusawa, of course, had to jump from the back line, because he's not allowed to jump from the front line when he's in the back. Volleyball rules. But yeah, I think that was really cool. Like, I think they'll, now that they know that he can jump higher, they'll set their blocks higher if they're able to. But I think it's really cool that if the block is, like, low enough, Tsukki can just, like, it doesn't matter to him. And he's still growing, because in the beginning of the series he was like 188 centimeters tall, and now I think he's reached the 190, so he's definitely still growing. And I mean, all the characters are, if you see their introductions versus right after the Shiratori-sama match, where they took all their like heights and stuff, they've all grown. And they've all also grown to become taller than me. Like, beforehand, no one, or like Nishinoya was smaller than me, Hinata was my height, now Nishinoya is my height, and Hinata's taller than me, which makes me feel really tiny. But yeah, that's besides the point. I really like the focus on Tsukki. Again, unexpected, I did not expect the focus on Tsukki. But I also like the little call out we had with the two people who were in the stands and were like, oh, I don't really know that much about Karasuno, but they're pretty cool. And then they're like, they have the really good libero, they have the samurai guy, obviously talking about Asahi, and they have their captain who's a really solid receiver. And then they talk about Tanaka, and they're just like, yeah, he's the lively one, isn't he? And then he like, by chance, gets a point because wipeout. And they're just like, yeah, he's the lively one, because again, this chapter is totally set out to be Tanaka's match, but he just hasn't had the time to shine yet. And you have his friend, the girl, I want to call her Kaneko, but I don't think that's her name, but she's just there, like, just be like, oh my god, Tanaka, because she would expect something really good, and we all expect something really good out of Tanaka, but it hasn't come yet. But this chapter is definitely a shout out to, yeah, I know you expect Tanaka to have like a great moment to shine, it'll come, just wait a little bit to get this out of the way. But by the end, this is, I talked to myself a lot by the end of this chapter. I should probably do a live reaction. Sometimes I feel like I should do live reactions of Haikyuu because I'm weirdly animated when I read Haikyuu. Like, it's just volleyball, but I'm just like, I don't think I will though, unless someone is like screaming at me that this is the most exciting chapter ever. Then maybe I'll do a live reaction, we'll see. But really, you have to scream at me. Just requesting won't really be enough. Because I think I do prefer doing reviews of Haikyuu. I think, yeah, I just really like talking about Haikyuu. Also, I know a lot of people are always saying like, oh, it's so great that you still do Haikyuu reviews even though you don't get a lot of views. These are my favorite videos to make. Like, my Haikyuu reviews are my favorite videos to make. I mean, yeah, sure, One Piece is my favorite manga, but Haikyuu reviews are like it, because I'm such a trashy fan. I know everything about this series. More or less. Like, give me like 3 months to remember people's names and I know everything. But yeah, to the end of the chapter, you can tell how excited I am. Like, I'll also, like, disclaimer, I have not slept at all in like, no, I haven't slept. I just didn't sleep last night, so I'm just weirdly overtired. But the ending of the chapter, as I said for the third time, Hinata was called over to their coach, and we didn't really get to see what they talked about until the end, where Ukai is like, I trust that you can do this, I'll leave the other twin to you. And there are people in the stands who are like, oh, will he be caught off guard again by the quick that they use? And you have Hinata being strangely determined. I'm gonna make the prediction that Ukai told him to use commit block rather than whatever block he was using before, because usually what Karasuno tries to use, and Tsukki is really the only one who excels at this, is read block. And I believe that Ukai has said this before, that while their read blocking still needs work, like that's really the best kind of blocking. Like he's also praised Kuro for being like one of the best blockers, and Kuro is like a master of read block as well. And of course, again, with Tsukki as a centerpiece of blocking, read block is gonna be their main force of nature. But I think what Ukai has told Hinata is for Hinata to use commit block at Osamu, is that the twin's name? The other Mia twin. Because if he has the quick, the best way to deal with this is either to just not block it and just receive it, or for the middle blocker to use commit block on him, because then you just follow him around and then block him wherever he goes. And the reason why it's smarter for them to use commit block rather than just not blocking him at all is probably because, unlike Hinata, who's still not super strong, where it's easier to just receive his spikes, the other Mia twin, I feel like, is not that. He seems much stronger, and just seems to be a better spiker, so it'd be the safer option for them to choose commit block over read block, or just over not blocking it, because there's a bigger chance that they can then prevent something, because they only use Hinata as a commit blocker. The two other in the front line was then still use read block, so if the ball goes up to someone else, the two of them who are left on the front line will then be able to handle that. So that's the prediction I'm gonna make based on the last page. Yeah, I think that's basically what I have to say about this chapter. Again, I thought it was really good. I really enjoyed it. I thought there were so many shout-outs and a lot of things that had been leading up to the Tsukki things. So again, with him blocking the quick that he's like seen for so long and always like wanted to block because he doesn't really like Hinata and Kageyama. They're annoying. And then with the thing from the Datako match where where they figured out his point of impact was a lot higher than he usually had a spike at, because he's kind of lazy and only just got into volleyball. And then again, the setup we have with Tanaka being like called out for not having been paid off yet, and then hopefully by the end here having commit block being used by a Karasuno player rather than having commit block being used by their opponents, because what's his name? I forgot his name. The middle blogger who Liev Liev took the spot from, something from Nakama. He used commit block on Hinata. And I think for a while Kindaiichi also used commit block on Hinata, and I think other people have done that as well, just always having one person follow Hinata. So it's gonna be really funny to see Hinata do that instead. I think maybe Hinata's stamina will take a punch, but we'll see, because it depends on how Osamu reacts to having a blocker follow him all the way, because if he just stands still, like, fine. And Hinata has good reaction, so even if he's like stands still and then just suddenly does something, Hinata will be able to follow. It's just a matter of how quickly he can get to like the peak of his jump. So yeah, I'm super excited. Like the last like 5 minutes will be completely useless if he's not gonna use commit block, but that's just my prediction. So I'm gonna stop talking because I talked for way too long. You can leave a thumbs up if you liked anything that I had to say. Leave me in the comments below what you thought of the chapter, and if you think that I'm right in Hinata possibly using commit block against the other twin. And you can subscribe if you want to see more, and until next time, bye!